What's up, garden friends? Jeff here, Tropical Plant Party. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I know I am. Now, today, part of my hands, been doing yard work, so they're dirty. Today, I'm going to be repotting the Senecio Rowleyanus, or Rowleyanus. Senecio Rowleyanus. I cannot say that. I'm going to be repotting the string of pearls I pulled out of that clamshell in a video from, it should be last week, and putting them up here into this hanging basket. Now, Senecios, being a succulent, don't necessarily need the cold, dry spell. At least this particular variety doesn't need the cold, dry spell that your typical cactus does during the winter time. So they're going to be watered a little bit more. They can't go below freezing. I would really prefer to keep them above 45 degrees actually. But if temperatures aren't warm and their soil's too wet, then you're going to run the risk of them rotting. So this mix I'm using here is it's a Miracle-Gro cactus mix. That's not my favorite cactus mix out there, but it's really all I could come by. And I've added some horticultural sand to it. The thing to be aware of with sand, though, is it does retain moisture, so it really would probably be ideal to go ahead and get some more perlite in with this, but everywhere I go, they're sold out. So I'm going to just go ahead and use this for now. In the springtime, I'm going to be pulling these out and putting them probably back into that clamshell. So I don't really care. I'm just going to make sure to watch it carefully as I water it, and I'll talk about that after I'm done potting it up. So in here, in this taco shell looking thing, ooh, I should make a succulent taco. That's neither here nor there. This is just a cocoa liner. I just kind of toss these in to keep the dirt off of my patio. But these are the division, the pieces I took out from the clamshell. And they're going to be pieces that break off. It's okay. These propagate very easily. Again, I'll be talking about that once I'm done planting these up. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more soil in here and get these guys potted up. Okay, I know this might seem like a lot of dirt, but I'm going to be kind of pulling things apart and moving things. I'm gonna make it fit. I'm going to make it fit. Trying to work on my grammar here since I'm doing these videos. This guy right here, I'm just going to shift it over. I'm actually just laying this right on top of the soil. I don't want the actual plants, these modified leaves, these are what store the water. I don't want them to be buried. So they need to be up fairly high. I'm going to make sure there's no air pockets underneath there. There we go, and that one's done. That's done. Quick and easy, not much to it. I'm going to go ahead and put the hanger back in here. This is the pot that the pansies came in from that video, and I did rinse it out and clean it beforehand just to be safe. I guess I can take this off because these are not pansies. You may notice that there's a whole bunch of open space here in the middle. Well, I'm going to be filling that in. These string of pearls propagate so easily. They will put out little roots all along here, and this particular piece is a little bit desiccated, so I'm actually just going to kind of tuck that one in a little bit. Let me find one that's more freshly pulled off of the plant. Here's a piece. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pop these little modified leaves off. Probably shouldn't throw them directly in there. I'm going to take off probably anywhere from 4 to 6 of them. I want to make sure that there's a good enough piece of stem to use. And then I'm just taking that piece and putting it down to the soil. And I'm not using a piece that's too terribly long because this string has to be able to be fed from what the lack of root that there even is there. So not going to use too much there. Then another nice thing about these guys is to fill the pot in a little bit, I can take any pieces that look like they maybe don't want to be growing out of the pot, like right here. Just take these, some right here. You basically just drape them across the soil. You want to make sure that there's some contact in there. But all of those little pieces will root and form new plants. So, it will hopefully come springtime when I want to divide this up and use it in my planters again, be more plants to pull and divide. As far as care goes for this guy, I'm going to go ahead and give it bright light, but not direct sun. Sometimes people can keep these in direct sun and they do okay. For me, however, they tend to kind of cook and the little leaflets, the pearls, the beads, desiccate. So I want it to be in a filtered light position, kind of similar to like a highlight orchid. And the string of pearls do like some water. They don't like to be saturated. Pretty much any succulent and cacti doesn't want to be soaking wet, sitting in water, but it does need to be watered more frequently than a lot of my other succulents. So I will probably water this, I don't know, maybe every week and a half, probably about twice a month, depending on the temperatures. If it's really cool, this is going to be in my grow space, I probably won't water it very often at all, maybe once a month if it's really cool. Cool and dry is always better than cool and wet. That's pretty much a solid thing for almost all plants. There are some exceptions, of course, but if you're working with things indoor or in a cool spot indoor that doesn't get a ton of light, cool and dry, usually the way to go. Too cool though, because these guys really don't like to go below 40, 45 degrees. I'm gonna try and make sure it stays around 60. And like I said, not saturated. When temperatures are warmer, I will be fertilizing this. Tomato fertilizers work pretty darn well. So I'll probably add a little bit of tomato fertilizer in here for this later. There is just a teeny tiny, just a smidge of the Espoma Biotone fertilizer in this potting mix, not very much. Sort of helps add some minerals to the soil, helps encourage new root growth, but with cactus you have to be careful with that. That should be fine with these particular plants. Unfortunately, a storm took out my plant hooks on my house, so for the time being I'm just hanging it here from this interesting light. But these will just keep on continuing to grow down very, very long. When they get too long, you can just snap them off and put those pieces back up in the top of the pot like I just showed you. These really are not fussy plants. So ultimately, hopefully by next spring, this will be even bigger. That all is just kind of dependent on how much heat I have in my grow space. And I should also mention with the watering, I will be using soft water, preferably rainwater, or I will be using my aquaponics water where I have the pH adjusted low. And I've softened the water some because my tap water is very, very hard, and cactus and succulents tend to not always do that well with hard water. Okay, that's gonna do it. Just a quick overview of what I've been doing here with my Senecios. Hope everybody's doing well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. It helps me a lot. And I really enjoy talking to y'all. You can follow me on Snapchat, Trop Plant Party. I'm on Instagram, Tropical Plant Party, and on Twitter, Tropical Plant JC. You can find all that in my bio on my YouTube page. And as always, everybody, I hope you're doing well and keep on growing. Bye-bye.